Have you ever wondered if there's a complete blueprint for our universe? You know, a set of rules that could explain everything from the biggest cosmic structures right down to our own purpose? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dive into today. We're looking at a unique vision of reality from a text called Overview of the Universe, and we're going to unpack it piece by piece.
Everything in this model, literally everything, kicks off with this one simple but really powerful statement. The universe is order. Now, this isn't just about planets staying in their orbits. This is the core philosophy. It's telling us that nothing is random. Everything is part of one giant, intricate, and perfectly balanced system.
So, if the universe is all about order, how does it maintain that order? Well, the text gives us the secret sauce right up front. The sum of all positive and negative energy equals zero, always. Think of it like a perfectly balanced cosmic scale. For every single piece of matter, there's a matching piece of antimatter. This perfect zero-sum game is the absolute key to understanding everything that comes next.
Okay, so we've got our foundational rule, perfect balance. Now let's zoom way out and get a sense of the sheer scale of this thing. We're going to start at the very top with what the text calls the big and the small universes. I want you to picture a huge, infinite river. That river is the big universe. The text even compares it to the number pi, endless, infinite, never repeating. Now inside that river, imagine countless little whirlpools forming. Each one of those whirlpools is a small universe, completely self-contained. And according to this model, we live inside one of those whirlpools.
So if we're living in one of these cosmic whirlpools, what does our specific one look like? This is where the source gets really, really specific. It calls our small universe the Earth universe, and it describes it as more than just a space. It's a one-of-a-kind cosmic engine. And get this, here's its shape. It's called a flying saucer Tai Chi ellipsoid. Yeah, you heard that right. And it's not just sitting there, it's an active engine, constantly rotating counterclockwise. The model says it's driven by an outer shell that acts just like the casing on an electric motor, powering all of creation that's spinning around inside it. Now inside that engine, we find this absolutely incredible nested structure. And I want you to look for the pattern here. It all starts with the core Fa-Shan system. Inside that, there are about 3,000 swirl river systems, and each of those holds around 3,000 Milky Way systems. And, you guessed it, each of those Milky Ways has about 3,000 solar systems. It's like a set of cosmic nesting dolls, with the number 3,000 just repeating at every single level. But this engine isn't just spinning, it's running a cycle. The text calls this cycle a kalpa. As planets and stars travel along this oval-shaped path, they actually speed up at the narrow ends, and then they come to a complete, dead stop at the widest parts. And in that pause, something unbelievable happens. All physical life ends. It's described as a cosmic reset button, just wiping the slate totally clean before the next cycle begins. Okay, so we've got this wild physical structure, this nested, cycling cosmic engine. But what if I told you that's only half the story? The model argues that reality itself is literally split down the middle into two fundamental sides, the positive universe and the negative universe. The positive universe is pretty much what it sounds like. It's the material world, right? Everything we can touch, measure, and study with science. The negative universe is its total opposite, the anti-material world. It's intangible, formless energy. And here's the truly mind-bending part. According to this text, our physical world, the one we see, is just a reflection. It's a symptom of what's happening in that deeper, unseen negative universe. So what's in the positive universe? Well, it's everything you'd expect. Physical things like houses and our own bodies, natural forces like wind and lightning, scientific concepts like atoms and gravity. What's really interesting is that the source even puts stuff like dark matter and dark energy firmly on this material side of the equation. And the negative universe? That's the realm of everything else. It's where you find abstract concepts like time and consciousness, spiritual ideas like souls, and unseen forces like belief and universal laws. You could almost think of it as the invisible source code that's running our entire physical reality. So, we have these two huge opposing universes. One we can see, one we can't. What keeps them in that perfect balance? What's the operating manual for this whole cosmic machine? Well, it all comes down to one single fundamental rule, the law of opposites. The law is so simple, but it is absolute. Everything that exists is part of a balanced, unified pair, like life and death or light and dark.
You simply cannot have one without the other. The text says if you manage to get rid of one side of the pair, the other one just, poof, ceases to exist. They completely depend on each other.
The text gives us a fantastic physical example of how this works. We all learn about gravity, right? The force pulling things together. But this model says for that to exist, there has to be an equal and opposite force, a universal repulsion, pushing everything apart. And it's the perfect dance between these two that keeps planets in their orbits. Without repulsion, the universe would just collapse on itself. Without gravity, it would fly apart into chaos.
Now, this law isn't just for physics. It applies to ideas, too. And this example is a real head-scratcher. Science, and what the text calls superstition, basically the realm of the unexplained, the model claims they are a necessary pair. One can't move forward without the other. Every time science solves a mystery, the frontier of what we don't know just moves a little further out, creating new questions that need answering.
Okay, we've looked at the cosmic blueprint. It's this vast, dualistic engine, and it runs on this one simple law. But that brings us to the biggest question of all. What does any of this mean for us? What is our place, our purpose inside this huge, grand design? Well, the text suggests that the whole point of understanding this isn't just some intellectual game. It's about liberation. The idea is that by really getting the nature of both the positive and the negative universes, we can start to see the bigger picture. We can see our own lives not as these random, isolated events, but as a small part of a much larger pattern. And that understanding can let us face life and death with a real sense of peace.
And that leads to this really profound way of reframing our entire existence. The text uses this powerful metaphor. Earth is just a point in our homeland, a temporary hotel. The whole idea is that our physical life is just one brief stop on a much, much longer journey. Our bodies are temporary, but our true non-physical self is on this eternal voyage.
And that leaves us with one final big question to think about. This entire cosmic blueprint is built on two equal halves of reality, the material and the metaphysical. We spent pretty much our entire lives studying and trying to master the material world. But if that really is only half the story, what would it actually mean to fully understand the other?